Youth of Purpose, a show that is here to inspire you, transform you and equip you as a young person to be able to contribute to your country's development and also be of concern of whatever transpires as far as young people in this country is concerned. So today we're going to be looking at the students' leadership relevance as far as advocating for a better education system in Uganda is concerned, and we're going to be talking to a number of young people, but also I have the leaders from the Uganda National Students Association, UNSA, and they're going to be elaborating to us what's the relevance of the association. Is it having any effect as far as, the education system in Uganda is concerned? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Youth of Purpose.
Thank you.
Starting with ladies, as always, Julia, welcome to Youth of Purpose. Kindly say hello to the viewer.
Hi everyone, it's a pleasure being hosted. Once again, my name is Julia Mpumuza, the 32nd Vice President of UNSA.
Amazing. Amponda.
Thank you so much. Hi everyone. My name is Agaba Kenneth Amponda, the 32nd Speaker of the Uganda National Students Association.
Amazing. Starting with you, Julia. First of all, tell us about UNSA.
UNSA is the Uganda National Students Association. Is a body that represents all students post-secondary in Uganda. And we are established right from the schools themselves, the secondary schools. We have school councils, and then they later vote amongst themselves, the district executives, so they form the district council. And then we have the guild councils in universities, we have representation from tertiary institutions, and then now all those delegates come together and vote what we know as the National Executive Committee now. That's where I sit, and that's where Amponda sits.
Amazing.
Yeah. So UNSA's establishment right now is over 30 years,
wow.
Yeah, because we are the 32nd leadership. And its all existence is for advocacy and welfare of students in institutions and schools.
Amazing. So, Julia, first of all, what's your stand as far as the education system in Uganda is today?
Education system is quite a broad term, but I want to say because we are there for the students, yeah? That means from our side, everything from the education system of Uganda that's not really enabling the students to attain one affordable and quality education, we are not in for it, yeah? And I want to point it out that post-COVID, very many schools were affected. Right now we have very many teachers on strike, and very many schools were actually closed, yeah? And then the government having, I don't know what to say, a silent stand on all these issues in the education sector makes UNSA actually come up and advocate.
Is the government silent?
The government, why I call it a silent stand is we as students feel like the government is not considering education a priority, yeah? Because post-COVID, adapting and all, we would expect the government to have measures to enable students to keep in school, but nothing was done. Look on the online system that was introduced to have students adapt in the COVID and post-COVID. I mean, students still had to buy for themselves data, and on top of that, the government put the internet tax. Wow. Yeah. So there is, education system is such so broad, but from UNSA, we are for the students, yeah? And we are going to keep emphasizing quality and affordable education. And even when students are in schools, we are going to keep pushing for their welfare, and so that in the end they attain what exactly they are supposed to attain out of school.
Ponda, as far as the quality of education that we're having in Uganda is concerned, does that make any sense, or do you think it is effective that the education you attain is going to be on any relevance when you go out of school?
Thank you so much, Mr. Ivan. As of recent, the education system that we have is major developing job seekers. That's what I can say.
True.
Some way back, when I was still in primary school at Valley Primary School in Kabale, we always had things to do with developing, let's say, maths at school, and you go at home, you make a math. When you come back from home, they give you marks depending on how you have developed that math or basket.
They used to call it handwork.
Handwork. They used to call it handwork.
Yeah.
And we used to have also PE. whereby we used to go to the beach and you would find a child of, let's say, around primary 2, they would play some nice soccer. And soccer by then was highly regarded as a precious thing. You could get scholarships out of soccer, which has reduced at the moment.
The competitions were so high.
The competitions
the music,
were so
dance
high.
And drama.
Music, dance, and drama.
Yeah.
And I remember I myself was in the school choir. We used to sing. That's why I developed that love for the singing. But now you look at the education system, it has mainly created job seekers, whereby you spend more of the hours in class studying theoretical things, and practically they are not applicable. You see, primary schools to the secondary school level. I went to Mbarai School and we used to have woodwork as a subject, and we used to have as well metalwork as a subject. And these are subjects which would help out students who didn't manage going to class, the other academic part, and they go to the carpentry or metal workshop. But now you see there's been even limited funding of these institutions that offer technical work. So I think the government should come up with a better strategy of involving students to hands-on activities in schools. Let's have school gardens whereby students will always go for practical agricultural sessions, not having agricultural sessions on blackboards and then they go outside to the world when they are ineffective in terms of service delivery. So I think it's good, as also we have been advocating for a hands-on education system, whereby we have looked at visiting different offices in the government. We have gone to the office of the Deputy Speaker, and this is exactly what we are requesting from his office, that the Parliament can come up with the Parliamentary Committee on Education should come up with a better way of involving all these aspects in the education system.
Julia, you have something
Yeah,
to say?
I really want to add on something. You realize I would just concluded a couple of graduation ceremonies, and sad to say that even those that were carried on last year and many years ago, many graduates are still home seated, because that's the nature of the education system. You come out, the existing few jobs need working experience, and even when you are in school, you just do not have the practical knowledge. Like when you go out there, you need graduate training. You need now the practical knowledge, which is a disadvantage. Right now, it's hard for me to compete with someone who has studied abroad because of the nature of their education system. While they are in school, they are groomed to actually be fit for the next jobs or whatever they will do after school, which is not the thing in Uganda. But also on what UNSA is doing, we came up with a concept on it's called the Presidential Initiative on Science and Innovation. We realize there are very many brilliant ideas among students that no one gets to listen to, and yet they can either be a part of creating employment opportunities or even solving some of the problems in our community. It's a concept that is mainly targeting young innovators, young brilliant minds to come up with their ideas, get funded, and then they can be of use in our community.
Amazing. Talking about the initiatives that you're doing, are you doing any partnerships as UNSA with other organizations and other agencies? Talk about the National Youth Council to solve the challenges that the young people, majorly in schools, are facing?
Yeah, UNSA and NYC actually sister organizations. And I remember there was a time when a cabinet, I think was one of the cabinets, I'm not sure, was trying to push for removing, scrapping off UPE and USE. And that's the time NYC had to sit on the same table with UNSA. Yeah, because even NYC has the student department, the student affairs. So we had to join forces because they also have the same structure, still village level. Yeah, so we're looking at how best now do we rally students to fight for free education in Uganda. Like even if it was just in just consultative meetings, you know how things start in Uganda. Before you know it, it's a closed chapter. We were like, no, we're not going to wait for this to be concluded. We have to raise a voice. And then we came together with NYC. Right now, UNSA also has memorandum of association with PAO. Pan-African Women's Organization, and we believe this will help. Right now we're working on a concept of teaching very many young girls across the country how to make sanitary towels, and we look at partnering with as very many organizations in that field is concerned, because we realize very many people have been coming up to help, and yet we have the immediate people in schools and girls are dropping out. So we decided to carry on this project, and we are looking at working with very many organizations to make it happen.
Aponda, do you think your voice is being heard, and how effective are you majorly to the schools, to the students, because that's your audience?
Mr. Ivan, the effectiveness of student leadership, when I talk about student leadership, I'm also including the structures that we have as UNSA, because our structures, as she said, they include the school, the student, the secondary school councils, also the university guild council. So you find out that most of the things, like for example, high prices in terms of commodities, scholastic commodities, we have seen guild council working hand in hand with UNSA to come up and advocate from the government that, look here, we are having high prices in scholastic materials and people can't afford them. And believe me or not, it's on record that we took a petition as UNSA to the Speaker's office, which we are still following up on, about this same issue of high prices of commodities. We as well had a meeting with youth MPs as UNSA in regards to challenges that we are facing as students of this nation. It's the youth MPs that took those same challenges to the Parliamentary Education Caucus, and they discussed them in detail. So when you look at what UNSA has done so far, the level of effectiveness is very high. We had a meeting with the guild presidents in Gulu. They presented to us all challenges they were facing in their different institutions. Tertiary institutions, for example, technical institutions, when they were saying there are high taxes imposed on them, and the issue of government students who are not receiving their remunerations like they are supposed to have. We tabled all that to the Minister of Education and Sports, Mama Janet Kataha, and they are being worked upon. So I do believe in our capacity, which is to advocate for students' education system and also welfare of the students. As UNSA or as student leaders, we have done our best, and we are still promising to do our best as student leaders.
You are there to advocate for welfare. Julia, what are the common challenges that a student in class is facing today?
Tuition.
Tuition.
That's the
Tuition.
Common problem
Really?
of every student.
I don't know if a chap in high school really will be thinking about school fees. I would like us to look at the common challenges that, if I was in class, I'm in high school, those challenges I would be facing, and how I can feel the presence of UNSA in my school.
I think the most relatable one is teachers striking. Yeah, but as UNSA, we are trying to see how exactly we come in, because we need to, first of all, understand. I think we all know what exactly is happening. Science teachers received an increment, and then teachers of other subjects are like, you know what, we also deserve an increment. So they decided to strike. So right now when you enter schools, especially government schools, you'll find only science teachers teaching, if you're lucky. And if you're not fortunate, you'll find students in the class.
Teachers.
Yeah, like honestly. So if a student goes to class Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and there's no teacher, I mean, that's an issue. That's a problem. It's a big problem, because I'm not getting the reason as to why I'm in school, yeah? And then how UNSA is coming in is we're trying to exactly associate ourselves with the body that brings teachers on board and try to understand, but you realize most of their grievances are tabled to the government, yeah? So how we can come in as well is raise our voices so that whatever is going on can be solved, yeah? And solved as soon as possible, because the longer it takes, the more students go to school and nothing. Before we know it, UNSA is going to be running another campaign of go back to school. Because with the reopening of schools after 2 years, we had a problem telling students to go back. Now that some have actually settled in, especially in villages, some have accepted to come back, and now then teachers are like, we're not going to teach.
Amazing. Those are big problems.
There are bigger problems than even UNSA.
But I think you're big enough to handle them. But I'll give you clear and very relevant examples of the challenges, for example, that I understand students are facing in institutions of learning. One, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we had a lot of school dropouts. That's because of early pregnancies. That's mainly in primary and secondary schools. Huge numbers of school dropouts. We are having a lot of issues to do with sexual harassment.
Yeah, true.
Majorly for the young girls by their teachers. We are having the issues of missing marks when it comes to the universities. A very, very, very big issue. What is UNSA doing about that?
To start with, the dropouts, the early pregnancies, the teenage pregnancies and all, that is still a big challenge, yeah. And that is what gave birth to our Keep the Girl Child in campaign. In fact, the PADS project is just a subsidiary of that, yeah. Because we also have like Sex for PADS, like kids leaving school because of PADS, but it's also a subsidiary of Keeping the Girl Child in school, because we realized that for the girls it was now extreme, yeah. And then fortunate enough, that is when the ministry, the Prime Minister, the First Lady and the Vice President launched a joint campaign of no sexual harassment, and more or less related to the Keeping the Girl Child in school. A campaign that we thought it wise that would operate in its own spheres to try and reach out in schools. And one thing I think Speaker noted is we have had presence in schools, especially in the village schools, yeah. UNSA has been present in Bale, in Western Uganda, in Northern Uganda, to understand what exactly is going on in schools, visit these schools and actually keep our presence there, yeah. And then we've had very many more like encourage the girls to keep in school, those that have given birth, get back to school, yeah. And then I want to say that sexual harassment, or those two things, yeah, are things that are just not a concern of UNSA, because they are very big, and post-COVID shows us that if we do not have joint effort, we're actually going back to the birth of affirmative action, of pushing girls back to school, yeah. So I just want to use this opportunity to implore all organizations, all companies, even if it's private stakeholders, we need to secure the future of the girl child, one, by encouraging the girls in our community to keep in schools. Even schools, you know, we have a problem with faith-based institutions.
A problem?
A big problem, because for them, it's, cannot tell you. For them, there is no way a girl who has gotten pregnant while in school can continue education. Okay. Yeah. But again, we have to really be on the same table. But I think
the issue was, you cannot bring back a child who is pregnant to be in the same class with other students. Let that child go, first give birth, and then they come back and study. I think that was the argument that was there. Not that they were not allowing anyone who had gotten pregnant to come back to school.
And you see, right now, I think it's the choice of the teen mother. And from the short time I've interacted with the teen mothers, I've also realized they would prefer to actually come back after giving birth. But what is still the environment of this young girl after giving birth? Yeah. Most of these institutions will tell you, yes, we are open arms. And before you know it, the girl is coming back. They're using her as an example. Do not be like so-and-so, which is something that is creating a very negative environment. Yeah.
And should I tell you what? Those institutions you're talking about are just a reflection of our society.
True.
Those religious leaders you're talking about come from our societies. So that's a problem to do with our society. And that's why your advocacy work should be improved and make sure that people get sensitized
from the ground.
All those issues. So coming to you, Mponda, coming to the policy formulating level, how can UNSA influence policies that do favor a better education system?
As Uganda National Students Association, we always have representatives to these numerous boards. For example, National Council for Higher Education, we have there 2 representatives, a male and female. So those ones help us when they are discussing about, let's say, requirements for an institution to start up as a university, requirements for an institution to start up as a secondary school. So all that policy formulation, they come and discuss with the NEC. For example, we had of recent the Students' Council, and they have to come and present to the students' leaders the developments in those bodies. So UNSA is very well involved in terms of policy formulation. And in another way, we usually reach out to the, like I said, the education committee, the Parliamentary Education Committee, and the youth MPs, and through Uganda National Youth Council as well, like Madam President said, we usually have meetings when it comes to a certain policy, like when they were talking about scrapping off UPE and USE. So we sat down as a team and made our conclusion. We sent it to the cabinet of this nation, and they discussed it, and it's on record that of recent, the president also committed saying no one can scrap off UPE. So that means UNSA was successfully involved in policy maintenance of UPE. Okay. That's what I can say.
Amazing. We're going to listen into a number of students to tell us, are these associations really that relevant in as far as enabling them have a better education? Let's listen in. We'll be right back.
Yes, welcome, dear viewers. My name is Masembe Owen Michael, the Guild President, UCU Kampala Campus. Well, if we are looking at what the Uganda National Students Association has done to actually advocate for better education for the students at the university level, I would say that the 32nd Council has done a better work than all the other councils, because let's understand that they have taken over office just recently in December, and within 6 months you can actually feel their impact more than the other leaderships that have been in place. For example, we could talk about the Gulu meeting that took place just a month back, where different guild leaders came up and they were able to address their challenges to these people, so that they could actually go have better advocacy for them, because they're the ones that represent the students. We also had a meeting in July, just recently, of council, where still other challenges were raised, and we also talked about amending of the UNSA constitution. So I would say that their impact is being felt by the fact that they are going deep into the institutions to find out what challenges are you guys facing. We are giving ear, listening ear. We're going to go out there and try to push for these challenges to see that they are addressed. So I would only want to say that they are lacking in one thing. They're not giving us these resolutions. Whereas they are advocating, they're not telling us what is happening. What came out of the recent meeting that took place. That is what we are looking for. Not just advocating and then we don't understand the resolutions that have come out of the discussions that you're having.
My name is Okwakunda Betty Lisa, a student of law at Uganda Christian University, based in Kampala campus. I'm here to talk about the student association has helped us and those ones that it has failed. And I strongly believe it has done its part, because we see this evidenced in different relevances, and they give to different students in different campuses. The student associations have been able to listen and to attend to the issues of the students in different universities in Uganda. For example, they go to different schools, different universities and different faculties, attending to issues that are affecting these students in terms of the studies, in terms of university life. Student associations have been able to lift up to students' esteems in different universities. Some students really have low esteem. They cannot stand out to talk about the issues that are affecting them in different fields while at campus, in order to give them a good environment that will enhance them, get good results as they purchase their different courses. So I think they have done the best part of that.
Amazing, perfect remarks right from the students. Now, coming to you, Omponda, tell us about the Students' Council meeting that you had.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ivan. On 2nd July, we had the first session of the 32nd Students' Council at Uganda Christian University main campus, Mukono. And our theme was making UNSA relevant, our responsibility. Because we felt that for so long, most of the student leaders or the delegates who qualify as delegates have been thinking that making UNSA relevant is up to the NEC. And the NEC is always made up of only 14 student leaders. So for us, we are saying it's high time that we take it as a responsibility as members of UNSA, starting from secondary level up to the university level and then to the top management, which is the NEC. So among the things that we discussed majorly were the challenges student leaders or students from the grassroots were facing using the structures of UNSA. Secondary school level came and gave in their challenges, and even the university level student leaders came in and gave in their challenges. And these challenges, they are tabled to the Ministry of Education and Sports for review, and we look out for solutions. And among the things that we discussed, we had the issue of amendment of the Constitution of Uganda National Students Association, because we believed it should be more inclusive. We didn't have persons with disabilities included in the system, and yet, as per the Supreme Constitution of Uganda, it calls that people should be included despite of the gender, of the appearance, culture, and any other form of discrimination is prohibited in the Supreme Constitution. Yeah. So as UNSA, whereby the Supreme Constitution is the Uganda 1995 Constitution of Uganda, we had to make sure that we bring in the position of persons with disabilities so that they are represented at the national level. So the structure is going to be that from secondary schools, the student councils are going to involve persons with disabilities. Then when we go to the university level, we are always going to have also persons with disabilities represented at national level. Thank you so much.
Okay, coming to you, Julia, as we conclude, what's the take home for a student back in high school at the university as far as your relevance and advocating for them?
One is appreciate the existing leadership in your school, and it's a channel through which even us at the national level get to pick on the challenges you are facing, and we pass them on to the respective stakeholders. And two, I want to say that UNSA as the national executive, together in collaboration obviously with the district level and district executive council and all other people in our structures, we have very many activities that we believe are going to be create an impact directly to the students. Yep. These include career guidance, right from secondary schools. We believe most of the schools, especially in the rural areas, have been neglected, and so we want to pass on bring these services now back to the schools themselves. We mentioned earlier about our ongoing PADS campaign to teach very many young girls across the country how to make reusables, and so much so forth. We have the forthcoming national debate championship still by UNSA. Yeah. So we believe there are very many schools, especially in the village setting, that would make use of debate and also get to improve their public speaking, and so very many activities. So to the students, please keep in contact with your leadership, and please keep contact with UNSA. Just like we promised, by the end of the year, yes, we are finishing our term of office in December. We believe we would be accountable. Yeah, it would be evident and really seen on how much we have advocated and the things we have done for the students of the country. Okay. Thank you so much, Ivan, for having us.
You're welcome. I believe you've heard it well from UNSA executives. You understand how the association is doing good in as far as advocating for the students in schools is concerned. I thank you so much for watching this show. This is a platform for you, the young people. As far as you have any issue, kindly invite me. I'll be there to give you a platform to advocate for your own needs as the youth. I thank you so much for watching this show. My name is Ivan Tumukunde. Follow me on all my socials at I_Tumukunde on Twitter, I_Tumukunde on Instagram, and Tumukunde on Facebook. I thank you so much. See you next time.
Youth of Purpose.
Welcome to English in a Minute, from home. In life, some things can be helped, while others cannot.
What happened to your indoor plant?
I don't know, Jonathan. I watered it, I put it next to this window, but I don't think it's doing too good.
Anna, that plant is dead.
Maybe if I...
Anna, it's a lost cause. Just accept